if we have somebody who's coming from non-IB background, non-PYP background, we emphasize on the clarity regarding our curriculum for them. We explain them how our concept-driven learning and interdisciplinary connections are going to be established over here. We will be explaining them how critical thinking and action taking happens in the classroom, and at the same time, teachers are going to handhold kids in the classroom for their transition.
Hi, welcome to Slate, your very own school search engine that helps you find the best schools for your kid based on various filters and parameters. Today, we have Miss Rati Bhardwaj, who's from the Mount Litera School International in BKC in Mumbai. She's an MYP Coordinator, and he's here to talk to us about IB curriculum and MYP in specific. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you, Samantha, for having me over here.
Ma'am, one of the general apprehensions that a lot of parents have is what if their kid did not go through the early years program but wanted to join IB directly in MYP? So, do you see that as a challenge, and how smooth is the transition going to be for a kid from a different curriculum joining IB directly in MYP?
So I think there is no challenge. It's a very smooth transition because if you look at PYP lays the foundation of inquiry-based learning. However, if someone who has not done PYP and then coming to MYP, transition is very structured. It's very subject-specific learning. Over here, if we have somebody who's coming from non-IB background, non-PYP background, we emphasize we emphasize on the clarity regarding our curriculum for them. We explain them how our concept-driven learning and interdisciplinary connections are going to be established over here. We will be explaining them how critical thinking and action taking happens in the classroom, and at the same time, teachers are going to handhold kids in the classroom for their transition. So I don't think so there is any challenge which I have faced so far. We have so many kids who are coming from non-PYP background and they are doing absolutely fine.
Great. And ma'am, MYP, it is during those years that a personality gets developed for a kid. They start
Right.
asking a lot of questions and all. So how
Right.
do you generally blend it with the curriculum or the academic foundation that you try to lay in during the MYP years?
So, see, in MYP, it's not something where we have any kind of, state forward thing. Oh, this is what you need to do, and this is how it is going to be. We have designed our curriculum, we have designed our strategies according to each and every individual requirement. We have kids, those who are super intelligent, they are super smart, and we have strategies for them. But at the same time, we have some kids, those who are taking little more time in unpacking stuff. We have different kind of strategies for them. So over here, our curriculum is in such a way where we are providing support. We are providing learning according to individuals' requirement, and whatever kind of strategy we can use with the help of our SEL department, with the kind of learning engagements we have in the classroom. This is what we offer. So technically, we don't have any rigid way of going forward with MYP curriculum. However, we have very customized approach for each and every individual child over here.
Great. And while there is no pattern specific structure as such, but like you rightly mentioned, there has to be a design and a plan to execute the progress. Now, how does a typical day of a kid looks like? Like, what do they do after coming to the school? Do they come and then try to explore, or how is it generally scheduled?
So, in the morning, when kids come to school, they actually go to their homeroom time. Homeroom time is the time of 15 minutes in the beginning of the day where they get to know if there is any cover lesson, if someone is on leave, how they are going to go ahead with that. Whatever kind of assessment they have. So, homeroom teacher is going to give them a week ahead, notice in advance regarding whatsoever they have. Then they discuss about the news which is happening around us, national, international, and sports. And on that, they have their discussion time, sometimes because I send my emails to kids also so they get to know the information. But HRT is a time where they create their connection with each other. They get to know about what someone has done in the last evening. They get to know about if someone has gone for any kind of holiday, if some important argument is happening, on our international platform. They sit and they discuss those things over there. And that's where they find their international mindedness, because we have kids from all over nationalities.
Great.
After that, they start with their day with all the different classes. Then we have short break for these people when they go for their breakfast. After breakfast, they have their other classes, and in their classes, they have pottery, they have visual art, they have design, they make projects, they go for PHE for their sports activities, they go for different academic lessons. And with all the things, they actually have their ECAs also. So at the end of the day, we have given them 1 hour where they go for their physical sport, where they can take whatsoever they like. We have chess, we have sports activities like badminton, football, basketball. We have extracurricular activities like designing and knitting and stitching. So whosoever has whatever kind of activities or liking, they go in that area. We have MUN club also, where kids learn about debating and standing as a delegate over there of a particular country, and how they are going to bring their arguments onto the table. And then they end the day. So this is how their typical day looks like.
That's interesting. And ma'am, since kids gets exposed to a lot of new subjects during these years, now how do you ensure that these are not learned in silos, but there's some interdisciplinary projects that happens and they learn things at a very in a very holistic manner?
So, see, first, MYP doesn't have any kind of preset requirement from IB saying that you need to have these particular subjects to be a part of MYP. We take all kind of, students from different boards, because we don't differentiate between them. We don't discriminate from one board to another board. So if we have any student coming in MYP and they have any new subject, for example, design is a very new subject. Most of the kids, they have never made website, they have never made any kind of blog, they have never made any kind of YouTube channel from their side, they have never learned coding, they have never done carpentry work, because we have product design. Teachers, they take them from the very first beginner step to the last step. We have our associates over here, they help them go through the process. They explain them how you're going to start from point A to point G, and each and every single point is going to have more clarity for them, unpacking of the process. So it's not like they are starting with the assessment and immediately they want them to become excel in it. However, teachers are going to first explain what exactly is their expectation according to the task, and then they will be giving little time to our kids where they understand what exactly is the task. If they have any questions, they bring their question in front of the teacher, then teacher is going to answer those queries, and then they start with the process. And their process have different stages to complete. So if their first stage is complete, teacher is going to review their work, and then teacher is going to give them feedback. So all the new kids, they actually don't find them lost over here like any other curriculum. Over here, they have given unpacking, they have given support on all the stages. So it's not like you have completed your whole work, then you are getting your final feedback. They're getting their feedback on each and every stage. Now, IDU, as you said, IDU is not something which is having one particular lesson and you need to do it. IDU is an approach which we have available for each and every classroom in each and every subject. So if they have math in their classroom, math cannot be done without having integrated humanities connection over there with their criteria D real life scenario. So we are not doing maths only with the concepts and the context. Our math has a connection with real life. So if you are learning fractions, how you're going to bring that fraction from your real life context. At the same time, when we are talking about projects, our kids are involved in service projects, they are involved in community project, and most important milestone of MYP 5 is they are involved in personal project, which comes from their passion area. So they find what exactly is the is that moment or the idea or the project which was very close to their heart, but for whatever reason they could not pursue that thing. Then personal project is that platform where they bring that particular idea, they work on that idea, and they bring a tangible project for the same at the end of the year. Like this year we had one girl, she made 6 paintings, but due to her subject selection or the kind of scenario she has for her career choices, she was not having any kind of scope of taking visual art as a subject, and she dropped that subject. But when she was supposed to take personal project idea, she was very clear what exactly she's going to do. She has taken her personal passion area of art, and she produced 6 paintings over there with completely new styles and new craft. So I hope I did answer your question.
Yes, ma'am. But something that I'm a little keen to know or curious to know, rather, is how does evaluation happens? Like at the end of the year or probably at some time during the year, How do you gauge some students' learning abilities or learning process?
So, first of all, our assessment is more of a criterion related assessment. And as I said, we want to look into each and every skill of a child, right? Knowledge and understanding is our first criteria, which we have almost in all the subjects because we have to build their knowledge, we have to build their content, we have to build their context at the same time. However, after doing that, we want them to become a international minded person and we want them to learn how our research is going to work. So for research, we have our criteria B in all the subjects where they are going to do their own research. They are going to figure out what kind of sources they have to research, what kind of ways they can do to collect their survey, how they are going to find authentic material for their research and how they are going to use that information. At the same time, criteria C and D in subjects talks about format, how you're going to bring your communication skill. Being MYP, you are supposed to be a good communicator, but if I am not providing you any platform, then what's the point of having that skill? So criteria C in most of the subject talks about how you're going to bring every single thing in a particular format. It can be a letter writing, it can be editorial, it can be blog post. So we are not just giving them a rote learn pattern of question and answer. It has a variation also. So by the time they complete their MYP 5, they are mastered in almost 20 to 21 format writing over the period of time, which doesn't happen in other boards. Now, our assessment processes, we have given these four criteria from IB MYP. We are going to create a question paper and a task sheet over the period of time in such a way where by the time they sit in their end of semester and examination, they are completely prepared for all the scenarios. We don't have any rote learn strategy. We have skills which we provide to our kids. We teach them how to do their research. We provide them how you're going to structure your answer. So with our summative task, we measure understanding of key concepts and the skills which we have given to our kids. And at the same time, we share rubric because we want them to analyze their own performance. So we are not giving them marks like 60, 70, or 90. We are giving them level. Okay, if you have done this and this, you will be coming on 7 and 8 level. But if you have not included this, you cannot be on 7 and 8, you are going to be on 5 and 6. So over the period of time, our kids are very much aware. Okay, this is how I need to write, this is what I need to include, this is how I need to frame my information, this is how I need to craft my communication, and then I will be getting this much. So we are having assessment twice in a year in terms of examination, but the guideline given to students starts from the very first day, and they are very much clear how we are assessing them on these assessments.
That's quite interesting. And speaking about the curriculum, a lot since it is slightly unorthodox, and parents also should be on the same page. What do you think parents should be prepared for? What kind of philosophy should they start believing in while joining their kid in an IB curriculum school?
I believe first, I want parents to be open minded because whenever someone comes in MYP, it does feel little intimidated because over here you don't have a textbook where you are just taking a textbook and you're just finishing the unit or a lesson. Over here, we are emphasizing more on their personal research. Teachers are going to give them unpacking of the whole context on a base level. And then on that base level, teachers are going to give them different case studies. Once teacher has given a case study, then students are going to bring their case study. And students are going to start working on their own research, communication, and critical thinking. So when parents and kids are coming over here, they need to understand that MYP emphasize a lot on rigor through global context. We have concept driven curriculum, we have key concepts and related concepts to look at. We have interdisciplinary approach. We never do any subject in isolation. If we have science, science is not just science. You have an inclusion of math in it. You have inclusion of integrated humanities in it. If you are doing art, art is again not going as an isolated subject. Over here, you have an inclusion of math. So how this inclusion is happening, how this connection is coming from different subjects over there, it empowers students to think critically. Because that's where we always, like in other boards over here, if child is thinking what exactly is happening around the world, how can we stop this conflict among nations on the basis of political standards, on the basis of economic standards, then we are making them ready for those kind of arguments, and we teach them how to ask why, how to ask what, how to ask to what extent these things are going to impact any kind of scenario. So it's not just, taking a question from a unit and then answering that question, but making them ready for future responses also. So yes, we want parents to be very open minded, to be ready for any kind of thing coming in front of them, but they need to have little trust in school and teachers also, that we are going to give them a very smooth sail in this journey of MYP.
That's great. And in the interest of time, we're having to wind up for today, but we really look forward to meeting you once again to get to know a lot more about IB curriculum and in MYP in specific. And I hope some of your inputs are some help for parents who are looking for good schools in and around BKC. And thank you so much for coming forward and sharing all these thoughts, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so very much, Santhan, for having me. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you.